Get ready for another wild ride through Reddit. Today we're exploring r/Trueoffmychest with 7 absolutely incredible stories. These posts had everyone talking, and I know you're going to love them. Hit like if you're excited. The story is titled "I Found Out My Coworkers Have a Group Chat Without Me." And it explained everything. Posted by u/CyberEdit. I've worked at the same place for almost 5 years, and I genuinely thought I was well liked. I show up on time, do my job, help when asked, keep my head down. I'm not loud or dramatic, just consistent. Last week, a newer coworker accidentally showed me something on his phone, and I saw a group chat with almost everyone from work in it. Jokes, plans, memes, complaining about management. I wasn't in it. At first I tried to brush it off, but once I noticed it, I couldn't unsee it. Conversations that suddenly stopped when I walked in. Inside jokes I was clearly missing. After work plans that everyone somehow knew about except me. What really hurt was realizing this wasn't new. This had been going on for years while I thought I was part of the team. No one excluded me aggressively or said anything mean. I was just quietly left out. I went home feeling stupid for how much effort I put into being a good coworker, thinking it mattered. It's messed with my confidence more than I expected. Because I don't know what I did wrong, or if I did anything wrong at all. I still go to work, still do my job, but something shifted. It's hard to care the same way when you realize you were never really included, just tolerated. This story is titled "I Automated My Daily Work Tasks with a Python Script 6 months ago. It broke today, and I realized I completely forgot how to do my job." Posted by u/begods. This story is equally incredible. I work in a fairly standard office role involving data entry and processing invoices. Every morning I'm supposed to grab attachments from specific emails, parse the data, enter it into our legacy ERP system, and generate a daily report. It used to take me about 2 hours of mind-numbing clicking every morning. About 6 months ago, I got fed up. I spent a weekend writing a Python script to do it all for me. It connects to Outlook, parses the PDFs, and uses an API to push the data where it needs to go. Since then, my routine has been arrive at work, get coffee, run the script, browse Reddit for 2 hours, then send the "all done" email. My boss thinks I'm incredibly efficient and consistent. Today, disaster struck. One of our vendors slightly changed their invoice layout. The script crashed with an error I hadn't handled. I stared at the screen and felt a cold sweat. I realized I didn't remember the manual process. I didn't remember the login path for the specific module in the ERP system. Because the script handles the tokens. I had to frantically search through my old physical notebooks from my first week on the job just to figure out how to process one document. It took me 4 hours to do what the script usually does in 3 minutes. My boss stopped by and asked if everything was okay because I looked stressed. I told him, just a complex batch of data today. I'm currently fixing the parser at home, so I don't have to actually work tomorrow. I feel like a fraud, but a very well-rested one. This story is titled "Fought with Wife 5 years ago. B. And haven't really talked with her since." Posted by u/okpen1893. This next tale takes us in a completely different direction. I, 43, have been married to my wife, 46, for 17 years. We have 2 kids, and I now realize that I have never truly been happy in our marriage. The beginning was exciting and full of romance and fun, as I imagine most marriages start. But I was always made to feel inferior, and just brushed it under the rug, keeping the peace for the sake of the marriage, and now kids. Everything I did never seemed good enough, even though I make 6 figures, and am able to support the family without her working. 5 years ago I reached my breaking point and was so angry of how I was made to feel. My wife and I stopped speaking for 6 months. She never once asked why I was angry. We fought, but I was never understood. It's been over 5 years now, and we don't speak except about the kids, or housing stuff. I go to work and am always there for the kids, but am truly empty inside emotionally. Coming home is a dread, but seeing my kids is the reason I stay in the relationship. I go out and see couples just having conversations, and am so incredibly jealous and just long for a human connection. Just to be heard and respected. I am stuck, due to the kids and wife's health situation. So just browse threads like this and it gives me some solace to know that I'm not the only one. This story is titled, I Stopped Being the Nice Guy at Work. And now everyone hates me, posted by u/cybereated. Let's dive into another shocking story. I used to be the guy who said yes to everything at my job. Cover shifts, stay late, train new hires, fix other people's mistakes without saying a word. I thought it would pay off eventually, like my boss would notice, or my coworkers would respect me more. Instead, it just became expected. If something went wrong, I was the one pulled in to clean it up, even when it wasn't my responsibility. A few months ago I decided I was done. I stopped answering messages on my days off, and started saying no when tasks weren't mine. Nothing dramatic, just basic boundaries. Almost immediately the vibe changed. People got colder. Jokes stopped. I heard through the grapevine that I was letting the team down. And not the same guy anymore. One coworker straight up told me I was being selfish for not helping like I used to. What really messes with my head is that my workload is finally reasonable. And my stress is way lower, but socially I'm treated like I did something wrong. It's made me realize that being dependable isn't always respected. It's often just exploited. I don't regret the change. But it's unsettling how fast people turn on you when you stop making their lives easier. This story is titled, My Family Found Out That I Had a Baby 3 months ago. And Christmas is kind of ruined. Posted by u/spiritedguitar9, 799. This story is equally incredible. I'm sure you can infer based on the title of this that I'm not really close with most of my family. I was born out of wedlock, which was such a big deal to my father's family that it resulted in them barely acknowledging I existed. I'm really indifferent to the lack of relationship we have with one another. I was raised by my mother for the most part. So to me, most of those people are just strangers I share some DNA with. My dad has a brother who I am close to. He was the only one in the family who had any part in my life. I never really saw my dad, but my uncle always had time for me. Even after he got married and had kids of his own. I was never made to feel like I didn't matter to him. He came to my high school plus college graduation, helped pay for my mom's funeral, and he walked me down the aisle. He's more of a father to me than my bio dad ever was. So naturally, he and my aunt were the only people in my father's family I told about my pregnancy. I asked him not to share the news with anyone, because really I didn't want them to rain on my parade. I'm still pretty young, and given how judgmental my dad's family was about my wedding, I knew they would have berated me for being pregnant at 23. I thought I might tell them eventually, but honestly, it was just so nice to prepare to be a mom without other people breathing down my neck that I just kept putting it off. I ended up going into labor a little early, which was already hard, but now I'm kind of struggling with PPDD. So between my baby being in the NICU and dealing with everything else emotionally, I just didn't tell them. Baby has been home from the NICU for a little while now, and my husband's mom made a celebratory post about her arrival, which one of my father's relatives unfortunately saw. To say that my phone has been blowing up would be an understatement. I've had people who haven't spoken to me since I was 12 call me to criticize me for not telling my dad that he's a grandpa. I'm being accused of ruining my father's, and by extension his wife and kids, Christmas by withholding this news. I'm being called heartless, selfish, inconsiderate, you name it. My husband is under the impression that I'm unbothered by what's going on, since any issues with my father's family don't typically bother me, but it's harder to ignore it this time around. I feel like my daughter's first Christmas is going to be tainted by me feeling weirdly down about all this. It's starting to make me feel like a terrible mom. I don't know if that makes any sense though. Sorry for the ramble. Thanks to anyone who actually read this. I just had to tell someone about the fact that this is bothering me. Because I really don't want to make my husband worry. This story is titled, I Blame Myself for the Suicide of My Fiancée. Her parents erased her. I don't even have a grave to mourn. Posted by you/former cockroachone. This story is equally incredible. I'm a 32-year-old male. She was a 31-year-old trans woman, and the absolute love of my life. I don't know if soulmates exist, but that's what she was to me. Charming, intelligent, strong, independent, fierce. Everything I needed to balance out my typically over-polite and over-apologetic self. We were electric, and together I thought we were unstoppable. Truly, a power couple. But like anyone, we had our issues. She struggled immensely with dysphoria, and a sense of not belonging, and I had struggled with alcoholism since I was 19. She hated when I got drunk, because she thought I was drowning out my intelligence, wit, and wasting my potential. Of course, she was right. On her end, her parents were legit fucking psycho. They were members of some Christian cult following in Amarillo, TX.I. They hated her for being queer, and had long since disowned her. Despite being long distance, we met up as often as we could. I've never felt so loved and valued than those days. Then, on October 24, 2024, the day after her birthday, I woke up to the worst day of my life. I couldn't reach her that morning and figured she was busy at work. But then hours later, we all got it. A scheduled message on Telegram sent to all of her friends. It was her suicide note. That morning she walked out into traffic on I-35 in TSW New Braunfels, and was killed upon impact. The part of the note left for me was very simple. To Riz. You are the love of my life. I'll think of us living our lives together. I'm sorry I wasn't strong enough to stay with you. I firmly believe the strength she was referring to was her capacity to tolerate my drinking. Her parents claimed her body, had her cremated, and spread her ashes at an unknown spot. They erased my fiancé from fucking existence. I'm sober now, and I wish I had the strength to get sober then. While I hold out hope of finding love again someday, I can't imagine finding anyone else like her. I let her slip through my fingers. I could have been stronger and helped her. I've lost everything. It's been over a year, and I still cry about her every day. But I don't have anyone to blame but myself. Edit to add, to the a-hole that got banned, when I was speaking about my most recent fiancé. I had been attempting to move on. I became re-engaged to an old flame. But unfortunately, that relationship ended when he became violent. Which is why I'm now missing my late fiancé as much as I am, I think. I thought I was over it for a very long time. I'm not. I doubt there's anyone else on earth as perfect for me as she was. This story is titled, I Was Picking Up a Girl for a Date. And her dog got a boner, posted by you/Jigglestebiggles. And now for our final story of today. I was picking up a girl at her house for a date. She had a tiny dog, and so I petted the dog and it got an erection. Then, she said the dog must really like me. His name was Winston, which seemed to impress her a lot. We ended up not going on the date, and just stayed in the house, and had sex. The dog was not involved. That wraps up today's incredible Reddit stories compilation. If you enjoyed these amazing tales, hit like and subscribe for more daily content. What was your favorite story? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.